This sudden shift has sent shockwaves through global political and military circles. Trump, who has been positioning himself as a dealmaker in global conflicts even after his presidency, and claimed that Hamas is ready for lasting peace. Words no one expected to hear amid one of the bloodiest conflicts in recent history. For months, Israel's bombardment of Gaza has continued with little pause, leading to massive destruction and civilian casualties. But this week, Hamas leadership, through Qatari and Egyptian intermediaries, communicated acceptance of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire and hostage release deal. The group's statement referred to Trump's proposal as a serious basis for negotiations, signaling the first tangible step toward de-escalation in nearly a year. Trump's plan calls for a three-phase approach. Phase 1. An immediate ceasefire to allow the release of hostages held by Hamas, as well as Palestinian prisoners detained by Israel. Phase 2. Humanitarian corridors and aid convoys to rebuild hospitals and civilian infrastructure in Gaza. Phase 3. A governance transition where control of Gaza would pass from Hamas to an internationally supervised technocratic council, reportedly backed by Qatar, Egypt, and possibly Turkey. The plan is ambitious but not without controversy. Trump publicly urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to halt airstrikes, saying you cannot rescue hostages under bombs. Israel must stop now so we can get them out safe and move toward real peace. According to Politico and Reuters, Netanyahu's war cabinet was caught off guard by Trump's statement. Internal leaks suggest fierce debate within the Israeli government, between hawks pushing to maintain pressure on Hamas until full capitulation, and moderates arguing that Trump's plan offers the best path to relieve international criticism and humanitarian strain. Meanwhile, Hamas' partial acceptance of Trump's peace plan has been met with cautious optimism. The group reportedly agreed to free all Israeli hostages in exchange for a temporary cessation of attacks and the release of roughly 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. Hamas also insisted that Israel must halt airstrikes completely before the first phase begins, a point that remains unresolved as of now. Trump's public intervention came through his social media platform, Truth Social, where he wrote, "Hamas has agreed to my peace deal terms in principle. Now Israel must act responsibly. Stop the bombing, bring the hostages home. Begin the peace." Almost immediately, his post went viral, drawing praise from his supporters and condemnation from critics who accused him of undermining Israel's military strategy. On the ground, the humanitarian situation in Gaza continues to deteriorate. Satellite images show entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. Over 25,000 civilians have been displaced since the escalation began, and food, medicine, and fuel are in critically short supply. Trump's camp argues that his ceasefire plan could unlock emergency shipments of humanitarian aid within hours if accepted. The Biden administration, however, has kept a cautious distance. While the State Department praised Hamas' decision to release hostages, it declined to endorse Trump's plan directly. Instead, a spokesperson reiterated Washington's support for a sustainable, verifiable ceasefire and two-state framework. Behind closed doors, analysts believe that Biden's team is frustrated. Trump's move appears to be both a diplomatic play and a political one aimed at showcasing leadership ahead of the 2025 U.S. election cycle. From the Israeli perspective, Netanyahu's government faces immense internal pressure. Families of hostages are demanding action, staging demonstrations outside the Knesset. Many have pleaded for Israel to at least test the Trump proposal if it leads to their loved ones' safe return. Yet defense officials warn that a full pause could allow Hamas to regroup militarily and strengthen its tunnel network under Gaza City. As of now, Israeli air operations have slowed but not stopped. Targeted drone strikes continued near Rafah and Beit Lahia overnight, despite Trump's demand for an immediate halt. And reports from Al Jazeera and AP suggest that Israeli defense officials are calibrating their response to match the diplomatic environment while still retaining operational control over Gaza airspace. Internationally, reactions have been mixed. Egypt has praised Trump's involvement, saying his plan reflects an overdue pragmatic shift. Qatar has urged both parties to commit publicly to a ceasefire within 72 hours. Iran, however, dismissed Trump's role entirely, calling it political theater aimed at electoral gain. The European Union welcomed the progress but warned of fragile optimism until actions replace words. Inside Gaza, Hamas leadership has confirmed it is preparing lists of hostages for release, pending verification by the Red Cross and security guarantees for convoy safety. For the first time in months, small groups of aid trucks have reportedly entered southern Gaza through the Rafah crossing under Egyptian coordination. Still, not everyone trusts the process. Human rights organizations caution that both sides have violated past truces within days. They warn that, without neutral monitoring and enforcement, this ceasefire could collapse like the others. For Trump, this is more than diplomacy. It's legacy. His previous administration's Middle East policy brought the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab states. He now seeks to position himself as the only global leader capable of brokering peace between Israel and Hamas. Whether that claim holds true will depend on how both sides act in the coming days. Netanyahu's war cabinet is expected to meet again within 48 hours to review Trump's conditions and Hamas' offer. Military analysts suggest that Israel may pause major air operations temporarily to test the sincerity of Hamas' pledge. If even a handful of hostages are safely released, momentum could build toward a more durable ceasefire. But there are darker possibilities too. If Hamas delays or Israel retaliates, the fragile window could slam shut, returning Gaza to the nightmare of daily bombings and retaliatory rocket fire. Trump's reputation, Netanyahu's leadership, and the fate of hundreds of lives now hang in the balance. As world leaders weigh their options, the people of Gaza wait. In shattered homes, makeshift hospitals, and overcrowded shelters, families cling to a faint hope that this time, peace might not be a mirage. For now, Trump's message is clear. Stop the bombing, bring the hostages home, start the peace. Whether Israel and Hamas will listen remains the question the world watches next.